Here we are at the Orange County German Shepherd Rescue. It's their grand reunion, their Rocktoberfest. I'm going to be speaking to them right now about some of my experiences working with German Shepherds, both here in Asia and in Europe. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know we'll get some tough questions, but one thing you're going to notice, and I want you to look carefully, look at the people, look at the dogs, you see who's better behaved. And so often. First of all, I don't use the word no with my dog. I use a different word. I'm very educated. I use the word phooey with my dog. That's the word I use, phooey, because no sounds like go, no sounds like this, so I never use the word no, it's just the word phooey. In terms of training dogs, in terms of educating pets, the most important thing that you can do is understand the concept that they learn through association. So for example, if your perfect dog does something right 9 times in a row, and the 10th time you blow it, that's the time the dog's going to remember. It's like the woman who called me up and said, Warren, the only time my German Shepherd bothers me is when I'm on the telephone. My dog is the perfect dog all the time. The only time he bothers me is when I'm by myself in the house on the telephone. Well, think about it from my perspective as a behaviorist. You're home by yourself, just you and the dog. You're talking on the telephone. Who do you think your dog thinks you're talking to? There's nobody else in the house. What does a dog know from a telephone? So when people say to me their dog's bothering them, I know exactly what they're talking about. The dog thinks you're paying attention to them. How many people have chewing problems with their dogs? You got chewing problems, chewing everything in the house? They always chew underwear. Why do dogs chew underwear? Do you ever notice that there's not a dog owner that I know that doesn't have a pair of Fruit of the Looms with the crotch missing? You're laughing, but you all agree with me, right? How many people have lost underwear to dogs? Come on, be honest. Socks, underwear. That's what, by the way, happens to your socks, is they're digested. The worst thing I've ever seen a dog do is eat a spool of thread. For 2 weeks, I had to go out there, and every time the dog pooped, with a scissor, I'd have to cut the thread, little by little by little. Let's talk about some training. Let's talk about some Schutzhund training. Does anyone know what Schutzhund training is? It's a type of training they do in Germany, and basically it revolves around 3 things: obedience, tracking, and protection. The reason I refuse to do Schutzhund training in the United States is very simple. Because every one of these macho guys wants to do protection, but no one wants to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to teach their dogs how to track. And that's when you have to teach a dog to track, is early in the morning, because the air is much lower to the ground. And German Shepherds, by the way, are not ground trackers. German Shepherds track with their nose. And just for those people that have no idea how good a dog's nose is, if you're cooking spaghetti sauce in your house, I smell spaghetti sauce. The dog comes in, smells the oregano, the garlic, paprika. You put paprika in spaghetti? I don't know. Whatever you put in there, that's what the dog smells. So their sense of smell is incredible, and they differentiate odors. That's why they're so good in terms of differentiating between drugs and bombs. For example, if I train a dog to sniff out drugs and bombs, it could be the same dog. But the dog knows when he has a harness on, he's looking for bombs. When he has a collar on, he's looking for drugs. And what's the difference? If your dog, if this Shepherd over here was trained to sniff out drugs, when he found the drugs, he would start scratching like crazy, letting everyone know that he found the drugs. If he did that to a bomb, we'd all be dead. So the dog has to differentiate drugs, get aggressive, bombs, sit down, shut up, don't say a word, and let the people know. Jumping up. How many people have jumping problems with their dogs? Why do dogs jump up? Because you people are too darn lazy to get down. That's the problem. If you have a dog that's jumping up, he's jumping up to make facial contact. How many times? I've played with about 20, 30 of these dogs here today. And what's the first thing I do when I see a dog? I get down like this, down on their level. There's no intimidation. I let them sniff me. As a matter, where's Denise? The lovely Denise, my wife. Where is she? Around somewhere? We were up in Sedona, Arizona recently, and I was called in to work with a wolf. And has anyone ever been with packs of wolves or know anything about wolves at all? Well, let me tell you about wolves. The first thing you do when you greet a wolf is you stick your tongue in the wolf's mouth. Now, Denise saw me do this for the first time and almost freaked out. What are you doing, Warren? But that's how they greet each other, and this wolf and myself became maybe too close friends, but we became really, really, really good friends. Talk about some of my celebrities here. David Letterman. Any David Letterman fans here? David Letterman's dog is funnier than Letterman will ever be. If that dog had a space between his teeth, he'd be doing the show. Letterman would be sitting at home watching it. Lily Tomlin had a dog named Tess that I trained. The dog is like training Sybil. The dog had multiple personalities, but she practices personalities every day. I'm looking at all the dogs that are around here today, and they all seem pretty well behaved. That's because of you, Marine, and German Shepherd Rescue Orange County. You guys do an amazing job. But the most important thing that people can do with their dogs is not train them. Look at that beautiful biplane that's overhead. Not training their dogs. What's the most important thing that you can do with your dog is socialize your dog. Even more important than training your dog is making sure your dog gets a tremendous amount of socializing. Now, when you take your dog for a walk, does anyone let their dog kind of sniff wherever they want, or you try to control your dog all the time? You let him sniff, right? I got this question on the air the other day. I'm going to share it with you because you guys look like you have a good sense of humor. A woman called me up and said, Warren, why is it that when I take my dog to the doggy park, he's just totally thrilled about smelling the butts of other dogs? That is my dog's life. Going to the playground, you're laughing, but a lot of your dogs, you take them around. You know why dogs sniff each other in the rear? Anyone know that? That's your dog surfing the web. That's the internet. That's Google for your dog. That's Yahooing for your pet. All the information your dog needs is in that area. What food's in the area, emotional state of the dog, all of that is part of the reason that they sniff each other in those areas. Also the same reason when people come into the house, the shepherd sniffs them in the groin area as well. And when a shepherd sniffs you in the groin, you know you've been sniffed in the groin, let me just tell you. Biggest mistake in training that people have is the lack of consistency. In other words, how many people have a dog and they'll say to the dog, sit, 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 and then they'll go, see, he knows how to sit. A dog should respond 85% of the time. Even my own dog, my own Skylar, who, by the way, let me tell you about Skylar. Skylar is a German Shepherd, a female German Shepherd that came off the streets of South Central LA and was rescued by a German Shepherd rescue in the west side of California, in Los Angeles. Now, I had just adopted my Schnauzer terrorist mix, Cisco. I don't know if you guys remember this story. There was 180 Chihuahuas at the Baldwin Park Animal Shelter. They came from a hoarding situation. Baldwin Park hired 2 behaviorists. The behaviorists came into the shelter, evaluated the 180 Chihuahuas, and said all of these dogs have to be killed. None of them can be saved. They're all feral. There's nothing you can do about any of these Chihuahuas. Chihuahua Rescue called me and asked me if I would volunteer and come evaluate the dogs, much to the chagrin of the head of the LA Department of Animal Services. Not my best friend, by the way. So I go down to Baldwin Park, and the 2 behaviorists they hired, I said to them, have you gone in with these Chihuahuas? And he said, no, they're aggressive, but I'll go in if you let me put on an attack suit. I'm scratching my head and saying, there's 180 Chihuahuas. If they all bit you at the same time, you'd have a hangnail. I went in with these dogs, and yeah, they bit me up. They were nervous and they were chewing. But to prove my point, I said, you see that one over there, that really crazy one? He's mine. I'm taking him home. I adopted him. That's my Cisco, this killer dog. Then I found a group of nuns, Buddhist nuns in Sedona, Arizona. Who knew Buddhists even had nuns? I didn't. I gave them 30 of these Chihuahuas, and I said, here's what you do. Every day when you meditate, lie on the ground, put a biscuit on your heart. And they said, where my third eye is, I don't care what eye it is, put it there. They put a biscuit there, meditated with these dogs, and I'm happy to say that every one of those feral, unadoptable Chihuahuas is now adopted and living in a phenomenal home, doing absolutely fine, just like all of these German Shepherds here that would have been euthanized if you people and Marie and her group didn't have the opportunity to take them in. So then now, I have this Chihuahua, this little Cisco. I'm talking over here. This little Chihuahua, Cisco, little Chihuahua, it's kind of a Texas Chihuahua. And Denise says, you know, we just lost, by the way, this is my dog. For those people who don't know my dog, that's my dog. That's him right there. And you might be saying, why do you have your dog tattooed on your right leg? Dogs are supposed to walk on your left. My dog never liked the left, so I had him put on the right leg. By the way, does anyone know why dogs have to walk on your left side? Does anyone have any reason for that? Well, I'm going to give you the reason, because dogs were originally trained for military purposes in Roman times. Most men are right-handed, so their weapon was held in their right hand, so the dog was taught to walk on the left. And to this day, every military dog, every police dog is taught to walk on the left side. I could care less. The other day, I'm driving in Santa Monica, and there's a woman with this beautiful, beautiful dog. I think it was a Husky Shepard mix. And here's the dog, folks. Picture this. The dog's at a telephone pole, lifting his leg, doing what a dog does when he lifts his leg. Here's this woman going to this dog. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I pulled over my car and I said, ma'am, how would you like it if you were on the commode and I was standing next to you going, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. When you take, and I just said this before, when you take your dogs out for a walk, guys, remember, it's not your walk, it's your dog's walk. Let them enjoy it. Let them sniff. Let them smell. Anyone have a digging problem with their dog? Hole digging? Yeah, I see a couple of hands. If you were to come into my backyard right now, you would say, this guy needs to be put away quickly. In my backyard, I have a tether ball for the dogs to play with. My dogs like to dig. Can I stop my dogs from digging? You bet I can stop my dogs from digging. That's what I do for a living. But they like to dig. So what I did is I went out and I bought them a kiddie pool. Has the Flintstones on it. That's what they asked for. And I filled the kiddie pool with sand. And I went in that kiddie pool and I put their toys in there. And I teased the heck out of them. I was in there digging. I did it at night so my neighbors wouldn't see, but I was digging and digging. I teased them so much, they were dying to get into that kiddie pool. And for 2 weeks, every day, I'd put new toys in that pool. They'd go in there and they dig. And now, to this day, that is the only place in their backyard. It's like Skylar and Cisco's sandbox. So rather than trying to stop your dog from doing what dogs do naturally, what you need to do is focus them in the right direction. For example, a lot of people here have more than one dog. Someone called me on the show the other day, and I was talking to the vets before too, and they asked me if a dog can grieve if they lose a friend. Why do we have such an ego that says only human beings can grieve? Dogs grieve as well. So how do you deal with a grieving dog? There's something psychologically we call distraction therapy. So it's normal for a dog to grieve, but if he's getting depressed, if he's not eating, change his life a little bit. If you walk to the left, now you walk to the right. If you walk at night, walk in the morning. Let him grieve, but let them get through that normal grieving process. I was walking around also. When I was growing up, every dog in America was named Duke, Duchess, Queenie, Whitey, and Blackie. Today I'm walking around here and I see this dog is Sam, this dog is Harry, this dog is Joe. Sounds like a poker game on a Friday night. But psychologically, human behaviorists are now saying that people that give their dogs human names are in fact taking them in as part of the family. And I think that's what you guys have done here. These are not the family dogs. These dogs are just part of the family. How long you had this guy? Really? I'm a big fan of three-legged dogs. I just wrote an introduction for a book. You should all pick it up, by the way. It's called Extraordinary Dogs. It's a book written by a friend of mine who runs Dogs with Disabilities in Maryland. She had two dogs that I met 12 years ago, both paralyzed at birth, both using wheelchairs. And she was trying to let people know that dogs with disabilities have every right to live as any other dog. So she had gone out with her husband and they had got these wheelchairs for their dogs. And I said, you know what, America's never seen this. So I brought them on the Today Show with me. And I got to tell you, these two dogs on their wheelchairs, I couldn't keep up with them. They're chasing tennis balls, they're chasing they had no idea that these dogs were physically challenged. And so many dogs that I see nowadays, years ago, and you guys, the vets over there, you guys know this, years ago, if a dog came in with a physical challenge, a three-legged dog, or a dog came in that was deaf or blind or worse, very often the only shot that dog had was to be euthanized. Nothing else was going to be done with that dog. But now with the advances in veterinary medicine, I just read about a dog that they were thinking about putting a cardiac pump in. I'm trying to think of what's a cardiac pump. What do they call us?
Pacemaker.
A pacemaker.
That's what it's called.
So my response was, where do you get a pacemaker for a dog? And what they did is they took an old pacemaker from a human being that had passed away, and the dog's now ticking away just fine. So the other thing that's real important is the nutritional changes. You know, years ago, everyone would feed their dogs the same thing. Now, I am so confused. Are you guys confused when you buy pet food? I mean, you go to the pet food store and you have puppy food, you have year-old food, you have 4-year-old food, adult dog food, middle-aged dog food, white dog food, green dog food, black dog food. You know why there's so much food on the shelves at your supermarket and so many different brands? Because the manufacturers want more space at the supermarkets. I mean, don't look at my case because it says Purina on it, but how many different brands of Purina food are out there? How many different brands? People ask me often, would I feed my own dogs? I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you what I feed my dogs. All I can tell you this is that the dog food that I get is made when I order it, and it comes shipped to my house. And the guy who manufactures it is one of the top pet nutritionists in the country. Sorry, he didn't go to Cornell, though. He went to he went to Davis, but that's okay. They still did all right over there. But he developed these foods, and a lot of the foods you see on the market are fine, but a lot of people change the foods constantly on their dogs, and I think that creates more problems than anything else. For example, you guys have German Shepherds. Heaven forbid a German Shepherd should have a nervous stomach. Oh, that never happens, right? A Shepherd with a nervous stomach. You know how much loose poop I cleaned up in Vietnam? Here's what my expertise is at. My expertise is helping you resolve your pet's problems, okay? Who has problems with their dog? Who has questions they want to go over? Why don't you come up here? We're going to take one question at a time. I'm going to get to all of your questions, and I'm going to make you look foolish. So come here. What's your dog's name, by the way? Huh? Oh, no, I'm not. Forget about it. Go back. Duke. Who names a dog Duke in 2011? Hi. Oh, your husband? Keep the dog. Get rid of your husband. Hi, Duke. Hi, sweetie. Tell me, Duke, Duke just had surgery?
Duke had really bad dehydration, so he just came out of the animal hospital.
Looks pretty good now. So what's Duke's problem?
He has really severe separation anxiety.
And where did you get Duke from?
The German Shepherd Rescue.
And how long have you had Duke?
4 months.
And what makes you think it's separation anxiety?
Well, we had him one day, and my husband went out to get the mail, and I was at work, and he jumped out of a second-story window, 18 feet, landed in juniper bushes, broke out the window.
And you consider that separation anxiety?
Well, he also, we can't go to dinner, we can't go to a movie, anything. He has busted out of 3 crates, completely can open them up. Those big plastic airline crates, he, with his paws, can get in and open up the doors.
Here's the big question for you, though. How many people have heard the word separation anxiety? A lot of separation anxiety. What's the dog's background?
We don't know. He was a stray that was found out in Rialto.
Okay, let me talk. You don't mind if I criticize you, because I'm going to do it anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. Let me explain the difference between separation anxiety and dogs with abandonment issues. Everybody okay? Sorry about that, folks. Let's get ready to rumble. I always wanted to say that. So anyway, what I'm trying to explain is that a lot of people use the term separation anxiety. Separation anxiety is a dog that's afraid to be left by himself. Your dog doesn't have separation anxiety. Your dog was a stray on the street, which means he was probably abandoned by someone, dropped out of a car by someone, let out of a house by someone. There's a term in animal psychology we use. It's called abandonment issues. Abandonment issues are entirely different than separation anxiety. That's what your dog has. And the reason I know that's what your dog has is because the amount of devastation that he's doing when you're gone. Abandonment issues mean that every time you leave the house, this poor dog here assumes that you're never coming back because it's happened to him before. And there's a big difference. Separation anxiety is more, I just don't want to be by myself. So how do you deal with abandonment issues? What you do is, you probably feel, you don't leave them alone a lot, but even when you're home, what you need to do is you and your husband You need to go into another room and close the door for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes.
We've done that.
No such thing as done. There's no such thing as done. There's things as doing, continue to doing. There's no such thing as done, okay? And you go in there for 5 minutes and then you come out. When you leave the house, you don't say a word to the dog. When you come back in the house, you don't say a word to the dog. When you leave the house, the dog gets one special toy that he only gets when you leave. It's immediately picked up when you come home. You and your husband go out in the backyard, come in the front door, go out the front door, come in the back door. Leave a radio or music on, which I'm sure you do right now for the dog, which is important. In extreme cases, I've actually made recordings of the owner's voice, dropping the dog's name in on a repeating DVD, so this way the dog would hear his name. But I want you to understand, and it's real important, separation anxiety and abandonment issues are two different things. Separation anxiety strictly means I don't want to be left alone, I'm anxious when you leave me alone. Abandonment issues means devastation, you're never coming back to get me again. And remember, I said earlier that psychologically, all of your dogs learn through association. So the fact of you leaving, that association comes into play. But if you start leaving him for short periods, which I know you've done, but in the house, so he knows you're in the house, but you're not on top of him, I think gradually you'll start seeing his confidence build up a little bit.
Yeah, he's okay if there's another, like we've got, you know, my daughter, or somebody will babysit him, and he's okay if there's another human. He still looks for us, but if there's another human, he's okay. But when he goes to doggy daycare quite a bit, and he's always following the people. He plays with all the other dogs very well, but he really has to know where the human is.
But think about what I just said to you. He probably lived with a family. They might have enjoyed him when he was younger and then either abused him or just let him go. So I just want people to understand the differentiation, because I hear this from vets all the time too. Your dog has separation anxiety. Yeah, a lot of dogs do have separation anxiety, but it's entirely different from a stray dog that's been abandoned several times. And it's a different approach to resolving that problem. It's not that the dog is afraid to be by himself, it's the fact that the dog fears that you're never coming back again. Did I make you feel guilty enough? Okay, good. All right, sweetie, good luck to you, thank you. Who else had a question for me?
I have a question.
Yeah, come on over here. Yeah, come here, who has a question for me? You want to take numbers over there or what?
Roxy's about 6 years old, and she walks. She's had 3 trainers. She still won't walk with me nicely.
She doesn't walk with you nicely?
She likes to sniff and look at everything, but sometimes I want her to just walk, you know.
I'm a little confused. What's the dog's name?
Roxy.
Okay, now if you were to walk Roxy, just like a nice walk, is she doing anything wrong right now?
Well, she's sniffing. But
What would you like her to do, read a book?
I would like her to I walk fast.
Okay, well let me tell you the difference. When your dog is out for a walk, and she's just walking like this, and she's sniffing around, that's what a dog does. However, when you want the dog to walk properly, then you throw in a term like heel. See, that's what I get all the time. My dog knows what heel means, but just doesn't do it. If she doesn't do it, she doesn't know what it means. All right? So the big mistake people, hold my mic for a second. The big mistake people make when they're training is when a dog gets in front of them, all right, they pull the dog back. And the more you tug on it, let me borrow someone's wrist. Let me borrow your wrist. Hold this tight. If I pull your wrist this way, you automatically pull against me. It's just natural instinct. So the more you pull the dog, the more the dog's going to pull you. So let me go. If you're teaching the dog to walk properly, you just constantly make the about faces. And if the dog is crowding, don't be afraid to make a left turn once in a while. But let me preface this by saying the dog should not heel all of the time. So when you take the dog out for a walk, let her sniff. But when you want her to heel, follow through and be consistent. Uh-huh. Yeah, but see, now when you take a dog out for a walk, a dog should never be on a short leash. A dog should enjoy its walk. Come on. I know it doesn't look like she has a tough life. But I want you to practice letting her walk, but I want you to practice more with the heel. Heel, make an about face. Don't pull her back, make an about face. It's really that simple. What a great looking dog. By the way, when you had trainers come to your house, were they male trainers or female trainers? How many people, you've all been through, how many people have been through obedience training with their dogs? How many people are happy with the results that they have from the obedience training with their dogs? How many people think their dogs could do better? How many people think their trainers might have been a little rough with the dogs? What did your trainers do that made you think he was rough? Oh, you. Shame, shame on you. What do you think that the trainer did with your dog that was rough? No hugging, no kissing, no schmoozing, no loving, no none of that. None of that was done. See, the first thing I do when I walk into a house, if I'm working with a dog, is get to know the dog. My first lesson isn't teaching the dog anything. It's just a bonding experience. Let the dog emotionally realize that I'm a buddy. Then he's going to want to learn. That's where trainers make the mistake. You got a question for me?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Wait, let me get.
I have never seen this in another dog, but this guy is a TV junkie, which is okay. I don't care if he watches TV, but what he does is he watches intently, and he'll do this for hours and waits for any critter of any kind, even a cartoon character, a dog or cat, a stick figure, a puppet.
What does he do when he sees?
Barks. He just jumps up and barks and gets crazy.
Now you're all laughing at that. You might say, okay, come on, Warren. You never heard about a TV watching dog. Let me tell you about a case I worked on just a couple of months ago in Van Nuys, California. Woman calls me up. Dog attacks the TV set. Only during Wheel of Fortune and only when Vanna White changes the letters. Wait. Now see, it sounds funny, and other behaviors and trainers couldn't figure it out, but I went into the house and I said, everybody leave. Let me just sit with the dog for a while. I turn on Wheel of Fortune, and I noticed that they're right. The only time this dog barks is when Vanna White turns the letters on Wheel of Fortune. Then something occurred to me. I said, listen, can you do me a favor and ring the doorbell? The doorbell at their door sounded exactly like the bell that goes off when Vanna White changes the letters. So every time Vanna White changed the letters, the dog thought someone was at the door. Trainers told you there's nothing you can do, you gotta get rid of the dog. Me, the genius that I am, folks, I told them to change the doorbell, problem solved. Go ahead.
This guy also, every time we change the German Shepherd calendar every month for about a week, every time he goes into the office, he jumps up and down and barks at that. He knows, you can show him this, he knows it's a picture, he understands, but it just drives us insane. It was really cute for a while.
No, I'm not getting paid for this today, you know that, right?
But it's just...
Well, you know, there are certain dogs that really have focus. There are certain dogs that really legitimately watch TV. There are other dogs that, I don't understand the calendar thing, you got me. You have a calendar, a German Shepherd calendar in your office.
Yeah, you could show him just a picture of a German Shepherd, or I mean a dog or something. He'll bark at.
Anybody have a picture of a dog?
Maybe not now, because I'll...
Oh, okay, but in other words, if you just show him a picture.
Yeah, he gets
And if you tell him to quiet down, will he quiet down?
Yeah, eventually. But I mean, he just really gets it. Really
All right.
That'll be $25.
I've almost thought I've seen it all. Oh, sure, if you say, Luca, did you see the dog? What do you want him to do?
He would bark like that, but not with all his dogs.
All right. It's like going to the dentist with a toothache, right? As soon as you get there, the toothache goes away.
No, but I mean, he's just got sensory overload here.
Well, you know what? If he's got sensory overload, that means you're not satisfying his needs in terms of emotionally. You need to give him more mental stimulation. Even though you're never going to show him, you know, different types of shows, teach him something new. Teach him something new every day. If he fetches a ball right now, teach him to fetch a frisbee. Put out in the backyard, put a little pool with a digging hole. But give him many more things to do. But I would not correct him for what he's doing. Are you a sweetie? Are you a sweetie? Are you a sweetie? I don't have to live with him? Let me tell you, if this was the biggest problem I had to live with, if my biggest problem in life was my dog watches TV and barks at pictures of dogs, believe me.
You have no idea how many animals are on TV until you have
Really? Did you ever think of Nickelodeon?
anything. I mean, he will. If it's an animal program,
I'm going to stop your dog. I'm going to stop your dog from barking, okay?
just settle down and just.
I'm going to stop your dog from barking. There's not a dog in America that can bark when it has peanut butter in its mouth. Right? So the next time you're sitting down watching TV, the dog starts to bark, give him a little drop of peanut butter. He can't bark with peanut butter. It's like trying to whistle with crackers. It can't be done. The other thing you might want to try, all joking aside, if he's an excessive barker, because they learn through association, go to the supermarket, buy yourself a little plastic squeeze lemon, you know, the lemon juice. When he's barking excessively, a drop of lemon juice on his tongue, walk away, he'll associate the bitter taste with the barking if you're consistent. Thank you, I am a genius, you're right.
I think everybody's being really shy here, or else we have the best behaved dogs in the world here, because not enough people are coming up and asking our world famous behaviorists the questions that you call me about all week long. So get up here with your questions for Warren, and he'll solve your problems for you.
Thanks for putting the pressure on me, Marie.
We listen to you on radio every week.
You do listen to me on the radio, okay.
This is Karen. She's 8 months old, and she started counter surfing this week. She pulls everything.
See, that's the term, that's the new term. It used to be my dog's jumping on the counters. Now we got to come up with a new term. My dog is counter surfing. That usually means you're a good cook. Are you a good cook? Okay, good. Here's what I want you to do. Get everything off your counter. Everything off your counter. Everything off your counter. And then what I'd like you to do is on the counter, what I'd like you to place there is wide strip of double stick tape. So when the dog jumps on the counter, it's kind of like doggy fly paper. It's not going to hurt her. It's just not going to be comfortable, and she'll get the idea. Good luck to you. All right, who else has a question? Come on. Yeah, come on over here. I'll get you this. Hi, how you doing? What's your dog's name?
Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesday.
So the problem what we have is she is like adores people, but anytime, and this is kind of cliche, but anytime she sees a smaller dog, anything smaller than her, she will want to attack her. So,
Just small dogs.
mostly small dogs.
All right, there's a couple of ways to resolve this problem. One of the things that I do is I actually will use a stuffed animal. I'll get a stuffed animal that looks like a small dog. I'll find a small dog in the neighborhood, and I'll rub the stuffed animal all over the small dog. Then I'll bring that stuffed animal into my home, and I'll let this dog, your dog, see, Ruby Tuesday, see the dog in a positive light. So in other words, she's not afraid because the dog's not moving. She's getting used to it. The other thing I would do is I would take her to an area where there are a lot of dogs, sit at a distance where she's not reacting, and then once she's not reacting over a period of days, just gradually get closer and closer to the other dogs. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. But there's a lot of big dogs that are small, afraid of smaller dogs. It's just for whatever reason. Great looking. Did you adopt it too? Well, thank you guys for doing that. All right, let's have Cujo out over here.
This is Roman. We rescued him 4 years ago, and he loves people. He'll let anybody in the house, including the burglar, I'm sure. But other dogs, for some reason, like just
I saw that back.
Yeah, if they cross a space or his space, he will attack.
Let me ask you a question. If he was loose, do you think he'd get into a fight with another dog?
Let's not try.
Bark park, and then he was attacked. And he was actually hurt pretty bad, so we stopped going.
Let me tell you what part of the problem is. There are so many dogs. When you have a 6-foot leash on your dog, this 6-foot leash is your house. So when you're walking your dog, this now becomes the dog's to protect. So in other words, no different than the dog barking when someone comes to the door or trying to protect you. When you're walking your dog on a 6-foot leash, that 6-foot perimeter now becomes. Now, how do you resolve that problem? Anyone here ever work with horses at all? Well, in the horse world, we have what's called lunge lines, light lines. If you get yourself a light line or a lunge line and take the dog to areas where there are other dogs, but not where you can get at them at a distance, and let them walk further away from you, 12 feet, 13 feet, 14 feet, you're going to notice when he sees other dogs, he's not going to be as protective or possessive over you because that 6-foot leash is his home. That's his territory when you're walking him. There are so many dogs I've worked with that on a leash, they're like Cujo. You take them to a dog park, take them off the leash, they're like Benji. So it really makes all the difference in the world. Try a longer leash for them. Good luck to you. Hey, you got a question for me? Hi. What's your dog's name?
Athena.
Athena. Hi, Athena. How old is Athena?
She's 1 year old. When we walk her, she either goes really fast just stops.
And when she stops, what happens? She doesn't move at all? Is that pretty much it?
She takes off and goes fast again, and then you pull her back a little bit because we give her the long leash where it goes 15 feet.
So in other words, what you're saying to me is the dog is constantly pulling you? Yes. Okay, yeah, I like it. All right, let me explain how that's done. If you notice what I was doing before, again, it's the same thing. And let me give you the leash, the end of the leash. If you hold the end of the leash, I want you to hold this tight. Everyone watch this, okay? Because this is what people do. When they have a dog that's pulling like this, they automatically pull back. Now, again, you're holding that leash tight. If I pull, what's your instinct? To pull the opposite way. So what you need to do when you have a dog and you're training a dog, let me. When you're walking a dog, you always have a loose leash. Let's go, Athena. When the dog gets in front of you, let's go, Athena. Let's go, Athena. She's in front of me. I don't pull her back. I just turn. And then you say, well, what happens if she gets in front of you? But the minute you get in a situation where you're pulling the dog, you're going to lose. So it's always a loose lead. That's a good puppy. Let's go. The other thing you need to do is teach her the extent of the lead. Just get her on a lead. Let her find out what the end is. Hi, Athena. Guaranteed she pees. Guaranteed. No, she's not going to pee. Anyway, basically just keep turning around. So you might not go more than 2 feet the first couple of times, but eventually you get one. Come on, Athena. Hey, Another thing you may want to try. Another thing you might want to try if you have a dog that's pulling is putting the leash behind your back. Come on, Athena. You put the leash behind your back, the dog learns the perimeter because it can't get too far in front of you. Thank you. That's the first time I saw a dog pee, you know. And that's what you need to do. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Athena. You're a sweetie. Website, it's WarrenEckstein.com or Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund. Come on out and support the organization because the money ultimately is going to come back to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to save as many of these incredibly amazing dogs as we can. Thank you all for coming out today.
Let's hear it for Warren Eckstein, all the way here from Arizona, just especially for our event.
I'm here with Maria Dales, founder, director, and pretty much jack of all trades with Orange County German Shepherd Rescue. What made you get started with rescuing German Shepherds, Maria?
Oh gosh, they're just such an incredible breed. I mean, how can you not love them? They serve man, they do whatever you ask them to do. I really started because I couldn't imagine this magnificent breed languishing in cold cement runs. They're sensitive, as we talked about. I just could feel their sadness and their sorrow and had to do something about it if I could.
So as a purebred rescue, your objective is to find shepherds wherever they are and just try to find them those forever homes.
Well, I want to say that we look for quality homes, Warren. It's not about numbers, it's about the quality of the home.
So you want to make sure that home's forever?
Absolutely. I'd rather place 50 dogs a year well and know that they're there forever than place 200 dogs and think that they may be bouncing around. So
how do you get so many people so excited? I'm here. You got me.
It's the breed. It's the dogs. It's all about the dogs. They're so amazing.
But I think it's the enthusiasm from the top down. I think it's your enthusiasm and your energy that says to people, you know what? You could be lucky enough to have one of these dogs. And people don't realize that when they adopt a German Shepherd, it's like hitting the lottery.
It really is. It really is.
Have you grown up with them? Have you been a Shepherd person your whole life?
You know what? My parents didn't let me have a dog, and this is what I tell them happens. This is what happens when your parents don't let you have a dog.
So if I were to come to you and I would say, listen, Maria, I want to adopt a German Shepherd, before you would let me do that, you would make sure that I was going to be the right person for that dog.
I absolutely would. We have a very thorough screening process. There's an application, there are several interviews, we do a vet reference check, and we do a home visit prior to a dog going home. And the reason for that is we want to make sure it's not only loving is one element, but safe and stable. Those are the other two elements.
This is the most amazing fact that I've seen here today, is all of these German Shepherds that have been adopted came back for a reunion. Now, I've been working with dogs a lot of years, and a lot of humane, a lot of rescue organizations. I've never seen a group of dogs that were saved and rescued, all so excited to come back and thank you and the group that saved it. I'm in shock to see how many German Shepherds are here with so many wonderful people.
But you know, I say they know. I think you believe that too, don't you? I mean, they know that they have been saved. They know in their hearts something magical happened for them.
I believe that when you save a dog's life, they know it and they pay you back every single day for the rest of theirs.
Undoubtedly.
And what's so amazing is because a lot of these dogs had a really tough life. You know, they were strays, they were abused, they were beaten. God knows what these poor dogs went through. Yet with the loving care given by these owners in your screening process, I have not seen one aggressive dog here today. I mean, my face is literally soaking wet. My dogs are not going to talk to me when I get home because I'm going to smell like 1,000 other dogs.
You cheated.
I did cheat. I cheated on my dog. So you're going to keep doing this for the rest of your life. This is it.
I think so.
Well, you have
imagine
my support for whatever you guys do. You do an amazing job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here I am at Rocktoberfest, which is a reunion for over 150 German Shepherds that have been rescued, and now they were brought together for a reunion. What a great thing to do. My question is, you guys don't have any dogs. You're from a school, a local school. What school are you from?
Troy High School.
Is that right here in Troy High School?
It's in Fullerton.
In Fullerton. And what made you guys decide to volunteer and help out with all these dogs today? Anybody?
Mr. McIntyre.
Are you blaming it on your teacher? Do you like animals?
Yes.
Oh, do you all like animals?
Yes.
So you're here to help the animals, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought you were going to say. And you decided to volunteer, come down today. How many people have animals at home? Do you all have any German Shepherds? No. You have a German Shepherd?
I have 3.
3 German
Well, I
Shepherds.
have like 2 and then one's mixed.
Well, let me just take this opportunity. I want to thank you guys because let me explain something to you. It's your generation. It's kids like you that are going to make the world realize that you can no longer abuse animals or take advantage of animals. And I urge you all to get involved. I know you're involved with German Shepherd Rescue. Whatever group you want to get involved with, volunteer your time, volunteer your effort, because let me tell you guys, the animals really need your help. As I said before, you see all these wonderful dogs here today. In the U.S., you have 3 German Shepherds. Every one of these dogs probably would have been killed if it wasn't for organizations like this rescuing them, having an event like this, and then thanking you guys for taking the opportunity to come out and set up and volunteer. Let me just thank you guys again. So again, we're at Rocktoberfest. This is a great reunion. A lot of people volunteering, volunteers from German Shepherd Rescue of Orange County, a lot of great volunteers from, what's it, Troy High School, did you say? Troy High School in Fullerton, great group of people. We're going to be doing this again next year. We're going to be doing this a lot. The more times we can get out here, the more animals we can save, the easier I go to sleep. And by the way, if you're thinking about a new pet for yourself, think about adopting a dog. There are millions and millions for adoption. Thank you, guys. Bye.